Olivia Mercer stood before the massive crystal doors of the Galactic High Court, her reflection distorted across their shimmering surface. This was her sixth attempt to enter, her sixth attempt to be heard, her sixth attempt to prove that humans deserved a voice in galactic law. Identification, demanded the tall four-armed guard. His blue skin gleamed under the three suns of Centauri Prime. His species, the Veldarans, had served as the court's security force for over 5 centuries. Olivia handed over her credentials chip. Olivia Mercer, Earth Legal Representative, Harvard Law School, class of 2157. The guard barely glanced at it before handing it back. Access denied. On what grounds? Olivia asked, though she already knew the answer. She had heard it 5 times before. Humans lack the mental capacity to comprehend multidimensional jurisprudence, the guard recited. The court has ruled that your species may only be represented by appointed proximate advocates. Olivia took a deep breath. She had prepared for this moment for years. Her briefcase contained evidence that would change everything: brain scans, legal precedents, and case studies proving that humans possessed unique problem-solving abilities perfectly suited for cosmic legal work. That ruling was based on outdated neurological assessments from humanity's first contact, she said, keeping her voice steady. We've evolved significantly in our understanding since then. I request a formal review of this policy. The second guard, taller than the first, stepped forward. The policy cannot be reviewed without a formal petition submitted by a recognized court advocate. And no advocate will represent humans in this matter, because the court has deemed us incapable of understanding the very system we're challenging, Olivia replied. That's a classic Catch-22 situation, which is specifically prohibited under Galactic Union Charter Article 47. The guards exchanged glances. This human knew more than most who tried to enter. Your knowledge of the charter is impressive, the first guard admitted. But rules are rules. No humans allowed beyond this point without a proximate advocate. Olivia glanced past them into the grand hallway beyond. The court's interior glittered with light reflected through crystal pillars. Representatives from dozens of alien species moved about freely, some floating, some crawling, some walking on various numbers of limbs. But no humans. Never humans. May I at least submit my research to the Chief Justice? She asked, lifting her briefcase. All submissions must come through proper channels, said the second guard. His tone softened slightly. I suggest you work through your embassy. Olivia nodded stiffly. The embassy route was useless. She had tried it twice before. The documents always disappeared into the vast bureaucracy of the Galactic Union, never to be seen again. Thank you for your time, she said, turning to leave. As she walked down the broad steps of the courthouse, Olivia didn't notice the small drone that detached itself from beneath one of the crystal arches. The size of a hummingbird, it followed her at a discreet distance, its sensors recording her every move, its transmitter sending data directly to the chambers of Chief Justice Zorax. The human district of Centauri Prime was smaller than most alien sectors, reflecting humanity's recent arrival on the galactic stage. Earth had only joined the Galactic Union 50 years ago, after developing faster-than-light travel. In those 5 decades, humans had established themselves as traders, diplomats, and soldiers, but never as equals in the legal system. Olivia entered the modest building that housed Earth's legal aid office. Inside, her colleague Kelvin Winters looked up from his desk. Let me guess, he said. They turned you away again. Olivia set down her briefcase with a thud. Of course they did. I told you they would, Kelvin said, leaning back in his chair. No human has ever been allowed to present a case directly to the court. That's why we have to work through the proximate advocates. The advocates don't understand human perspectives, Olivia argued. They translate our legal theories through their own cultural filters. It's like trying to explain color to someone who can only see in black and white. Kelvin shrugged. It's been this way for 50 years, Liv. You're not going to change the system overnight. Maybe not overnight, Olivia said, but it has to change. Did you know the Arcturians were once banned from the court too? Now they have 3 judges on the high panel. The Arcturians have telepathic abilities that proved useful in truth verification, Kelvin pointed out. What unique abilities do humans bring? Olivia turned to the window, gazing at the alien skyline with its impossible architecture, buildings that seemed to defy gravity, structures that existed partially in other dimensions. We think differently, she said quietly. Humans make connections that other species miss. We see patterns where others see chaos. That's not exactly a legal superpower, Kelvin said. No? Then explain why I've helped win 15 cases by advising the advocates behind the scenes, Olivia countered. Cases that everyone said were hopeless. Before Kelvin could respond, the office door slid open. A young woman with worried eyes entered, clutching a data pad. Are you Olivia Mercer? The woman asked. Yes, Olivia replied. Can I help you? My name is Amy Sutton. I'm a terraforming engineer on Proxima B, the woman said. I've been accused of environmental sabotage, but I swear I'm innocent. They say I deliberately introduced a molecular compound that's destroying the planet's new ecosystem. Olivia gestured for Amy to sit. Tell me everything. For the next hour, Amy explained her situation. The evidence against her seemed overwhelming. Molecular traces matched her equipment. Security footage showed her alone in the contamination zone, and she had recently argued with her supervisors about the terraforming approach. I'll be assigned a proximate advocate, Amy said, but I've heard they never win cases for humans. I'm looking at 50 years in a mining prison if convicted. Olivia studied the data on Amy's pad. Something caught her eye, a molecular degradation pattern that didn't match standard human technology. This doesn't look like anything from your equipment, Olivia said. The decay signature is all wrong. That's what I tried to tell them, Amy exclaimed. But they said I must have modified my equipment. Olivia nodded slowly, an idea forming. I think I can help you, but I'll have to work through your assigned advocate. I won't be allowed in the courtroom. What Olivia didn't say was that Amy's case might be exactly the opportunity she needed. If she could prove a human innocent against overwhelming evidence, it might force the court to reconsider humanity's status. Outside the office window, the tiny drone continued its surveillance, recording every word. In the private chambers of Ayur, Chief Justice Zorax, the most powerful legal mind in 12 sectors, listened with growing interest. Continue observation, Zorax instructed the drone operator. This human may be exactly what we've been looking for. For 3 weeks, Olivia worked tirelessly on Amy Sutton's case. Her office became a fortress of data pads, chemical analyses, and legal texts from 17 different species. She slept little, often dozing at her desk between research sessions. You're obsessed with this case, Kelvin said one morning, placing a cup of synthetic coffee on her desk. Is it about Amy, or is it about proving your point to the court? Olivia looked up from her work. Dark circles had formed under her eyes. Both, she admitted. Amy is innocent. And if I can prove it, maybe it will show the court that humans understand justice in ways they haven't considered. Kelvin sighed. The proximate advocate assigned to her case is Tlosivan. He's notorious for doing the minimum required. He won't fight for her. Then I'll give him a strategy so clear, so perfect that even he can't mess it up, Olivia said. She returned to her analysis. The molecular compound that had damaged the Proxima B ecosystem had a strange signature, one that reminded her of something she had seen before. Olivia dug through her old case files until she found it. An environmental dispute on an Arcturian colony world from 3 years ago. That's it, she whispered, the pieces clicking into place. The compound isn't human-made at all. It's Arcturian biochemical technology. She sent a message to Amy, who arrived at the office within the hour. You worked with Arcturian scientists before coming to Proxima B, right? Olivia asked. Amy nodded. For 2 years on their homeworld. How did you know? The molecular traces. They found they're from an Arcturian terraforming enzyme, Olivia explained. It must have attached to your equipment without your knowledge. But why would it activate and damage the ecosystem? Amy asked. That's the key question, Olivia said. The Arcturians use these enzymes for specific environmental conditions. On Proxima B, with its unique atmosphere, the enzyme would have mutated. Olivia pulled up an obscure clause from the Galactic Union's founding charter on her screen. "Look here," she said. Article 329, subsection 17. Developmental technologies, with unintended cross-species applications or consequences, shall remain the responsibility of the originating species, not the unknowing carrier. Amy read it twice. This means the Arcturians are legally responsible? Exactly, Olivia said. But more importantly, it means you're innocent. You were just the unwitting carrier. We need to meet with Tlosavan immediately. The office of the proximate advocate was located in a gleaming tower near the court. Unlike the warm woods and soft lighting of human spaces, the advocate's chambers were stark and angular, with harsh white light that made Olivia's eyes hurt. Tlosavan was tall and blue-skinned, with an elongated head that housed his species' 3 brains. He regarded the 2 human women with thinly veiled disinterest. "I have reviewed the evidence," he said. "The case against Amy Sutton appears conclusive. I recommend a guilty plea in exchange for reduced sentencing." "No," Olivia said firmly. "My client is innocent and I can prove it." The advocate's expression didn't change. "You are not permitted to argue in court." "I know that," Olivia said. "But you are, and you're going to use this strategy." She handed over her carefully prepared briefs. Tlosavan scanned the documents. His normally impassive face showed a flicker of surprise. "This references legal traditions from 3 different species," he noted, "and cites an obscure founding clause that has not been invoked in 427 standard cycles." "Is it valid?" Olivia pressed. The advocate was silent for a long moment. "The approach is unorthodox, but technically valid." "Then you'll present it?" Tlosavan set the briefing down. "Your strategy violates conventional jurisprudential flow. It will likely fail." "But you'll present it exactly as I've outlined," Olivia insisted. "As your client's assigned advocate, I am obligated to present any legally sound defense," Tlosavan said. "Though I must note my reservations." "Noted," Olivia said. "Now, there's one more thing. I'd like to observe the trial." "Humans may observe from the public gallery," Tlosavan replied, "though you will be separated from the main proceedings by a barrier." "Of course we will," Olivia muttered. What none of them knew was that the entire conversation was being monitored. In his private chambers, Chief Justice Zorax watched with growing interest. "The human's legal reasoning is unique," noted one of his assistants, a floating gelatinous being named Urtok. "Indeed," Zorax replied. "She has connected principles that have never been connected before. The founding clause she cited is valid but has been forgotten by almost everyone. Do you believe her strategy will succeed?" The Chief Justice's mouthparts clicked thoughtfully. "That depends on whether Tlosavan follows it exactly. We shall see." The day of the trial arrived. Olivia and Kelvin sat in the human observation area, behind a translucent barrier that symbolized humanity's second-class status. From their position, they could see, but not participate. The courtroom was massive, with soaring crystal ceilings and benches arranged in concentric circles to accommodate various species. 5 judges, none human, sat on elevated platforms. Amy looked small and vulnerable as she was led to the defendant's position. Across from her, the prosecutor, a red-scaled draconid, arranged his evidence with confidence. "This will be quick," Kelvin whispered. "The draconids win 94% of their cases." "Not this time," Olivia said, though doubt gnawed at her. Would Tlosavan actually follow her strategy? The prosecutor spoke first, outlining the overwhelming evidence against Amy. The molecular traces, the security footage, the arguments with supervisors, it all painted a damning picture. When it was Tlosavan's turn, he rose slowly. Olivia held her breath. "Honored judges," the advocate began. "The defense acknowledges the molecular evidence found at the site. However, we submit that Amy Sutton was an unknowing carrier of Arcturian biochemical technology, which mutated in the unique atmosphere of Proxima b. He was following the strategy." Olivia felt a surge of hope. "Furthermore," Tlosavan continued, "I direct the court's attention to the Galactic Union's founding charter, Article 329, subsection 17. A murmur ran through the courtroom. Even the judges looked surprised as Tlosevan quoted the forgotten clause about developmental technologies and unintended consequences. The defense has prepared a cross-species analysis, the advocate continued, demonstrating that the molecular signature matches Arcturian enzymes, not human technology. For the next hour, Tlosevan methodically presented Olivia's case, connecting legal traditions from 3 different species in a way no one had tried before. He displayed evidence of the enzyme's mutation in Proxima B's atmosphere and cited precedents from similar cases involving unwitting carriers. As he concluded, the courtroom was silent. The 5 judges huddled together, communicating in whispers and subtle gestures. This was unusual. Most cases received immediate rulings. "They're actually considering it," Kelvin said, sounding stunned. Olivia couldn't speak. She watched as Amy stood nervously, hands clasped tightly before her. Finally, the chief judge, a crystalline being named Shorak, spoke. "The court finds the defense's argument compelling and supported by founding principles. Amy Sutton is found not guilty of all charges." The courtroom erupted in astonished murmurs. Olivia felt tears in her eyes. "She won," she whispered. "We won." As spectators began to file out, a small drone appeared before Olivia. "Your presence is requested by Chief Justice Zorax," came the synthesized voice. "There must be some mistake," Olivia replied. "Humans aren't permitted private audiences with court officials." "No mistake," the drone responded. "Please follow." Olivia looked at Kelvin, who appeared as shocked as she felt. "What does this mean?" she asked. "I don't know," he admitted. "But I think everything is about to change." Olivia followed the small drone through corridors she had never been allowed to enter before. The inner sections of the Galactic High Court were even more impressive than the public areas. Walls that shifted colors with passing emotions, floors that adjusted to the weight and biology of different species, and ceilings that displayed real-time maps of legal proceedings across the galaxy. "I shouldn't be here," Olivia whispered to herself. For 50 years, humans had been kept out of these sacred halls. Yet here she was, walking where no human had walked before. The drone led her to a circular chamber. As she entered, Olivia gasped. The room was filled with holographic projections of 12 beings, the High Council of Judicial Selection, the most powerful legal minds in the known universe. "Olivia Mercer of Earth," announced a voice. "You have been under evaluation for 217 standard cycles." Olivia scanned the projections, trying to identify the speaker. "Evaluation for what purpose?" "To determine if humanity has evolved beyond our initial assessment," came the reply. A small door on the far side of the chamber slid open. Through it stepped a being unlike any Olivia had seen before. It stood barely waist-high to her, with iridescent skin that seemed to shift between solid and translucent. Its eyes, of which there were 7, blinked in different patterns around its spherical head. "I am Chief Justice Zorax," the being said. Its voice was surprisingly deep for its small size. Olivia tried to hide her shock. This unassuming creature was the most powerful legal entity in 12 sectors. "It is an honor, Chief Justice," she managed to say. "You are wondering why I have summoned you," Zorax said. "Yes," Olivia admitted. "Your legal strategy in the Sutton case was illuminating," the Chief Justice said. "In 14,000 years of court history, no one has connected that founding clause with cross-species precedents in quite that way." One of the projected council members, a gaseous entity contained in an ornate floating vessel, moved forward. "The Galactic High Court operates on principles most species take centuries to comprehend," it explained. "I am Council Member Shrila. We require diverse cognitive approaches to maintain balanced justice across the Union." "Our initial assessment of humans was not incorrect," another council member added. "This one appeared to be made entirely of shifting geometric patterns. Your species does indeed process multidimensional jurisprudence differently than most. But we now understand that different does not mean inferior." Olivia felt a surge of vindication, but kept her expression neutral. May I ask what changed? Your assessment? You did, said Zorax simply. The Chief Justice gestured, and a holographic display appeared in the center of the chamber. It showed Olivia's 6 attempts to enter the court, her behind-the-scenes work on 15 different cases, and her meticulous preparation of Amy Sutton's defense. You have been under observation since your first attempt to enter the court, Zorax explained. We needed to determine if your abilities were unique or representative of human potential. And your conclusion? Olivia asked. Both, replied Srila. You possess exceptional talents even for a human, but your cognitive patterns are fundamentally human. This suggests that your species offers perspectives valuable to galactic jurisprudence. Zorax moved closer to Olivia. The court requires a human judge, he said. The words hit Olivia like a physical force. A human judge? No human had ever been permitted even to enter the inner chambers as an advocate, let alone serve as a judge. This is unprecedented, she managed to say. Indeed, agreed Zorax. But our analysis indicates that human perspectives, particularly your legal reasoning, would fill a critical gap in our judicial framework. What gap? Olivia asked. The geometric-patterned council member pulsed with light as it spoke. Innovation. Most species in the Union have legal traditions spanning millennia. They've grown rigid, predictable. Humans solve problems differently. You see connections others miss. Zorax extended a multi-jointed hand. In it was a small crystalline object shaped like a teardrop. This is a judge's sigil, he explained. It contains the collective legal knowledge of the court and serves as your authority. Olivia stared at the object. You're offering this to me? Should you accept our offer, Zorax continued, you will undergo intensive training and neural augmentation to comprehend multidimensional legal constructs. The process is not without risk. And if I refuse? Olivia asked. Then humanity remains represented only by proximate advocates, Zorax replied simply. The status quo continues. A heavy silence filled the chamber. Olivia thought of Earth, still finding its place in the galactic community. She thought of Amy Sutton and countless other humans who faced an alien legal system without true representation. Why me? She finally asked. I'm not even the most decorated legal scholar on Earth. Because you persisted when denied entry 6 times, said Zorax. Because you found a way to win an unwinnable case. Because you understand that justice transcends species. Olivia looked at the sigil. What would my role be, exactly? Srila's gaseous form swirled inside its container. You would serve as one of 37 judges on the high panel. You would hear cases from all species, not just human matters. And I would be the only human? Olivia asked. Initially, Zorax confirmed. But if the experiment proves successful, more may follow. Experiment. The word gave Olivia pause. Was that all this was to them? A test of human capability? I need time to consider this, she said carefully. Of course, Zorax replied. You have 3 standard days. The neural augmentation must begin by then if you are to be ready for the next judicial cycle. Back in her small apartment, Olivia paced restlessly. The judge's sigil sat on her table, catching the light from Centauri Prime's 3 moons. She had contacted Earth's government, and their response had been immediate and clear. Accept the position. It was too valuable an opportunity for humanity. But Olivia had concerns. The neural augmentation worried her. Would it change who she was? Would she lose the very human perspective that made her valuable to the court? Her communication panel chimed. It was Amy Sutton. I heard the news, Amy said, her face filling the screen. Is it true? They've offered you a place on the court? Word travels fast, Olivia replied. Everyone's talking about it, Amy said. You'd be the first human to serve. As a judge, you'd change everything for us, Olivia sighed. That's a lot of pressure. You know what I was thinking about? Amy continued. All those people who said humans don't belong in the court. All those other species who look down on us. Imagine their faces when you walk in wearing a judge's robes. Despite her concerns, Olivia smiled at the image. It would be satisfying, she admitted. It would be more than that, Amy said. It would be justice. After they said goodbye, Olivia picked up the sigil. Its surface was cool to the touch, but she felt a faint hum of energy from within. This small crystal represented a chance to change humanity's place in the galaxy. The risks were real. The neural augmentation might alter her in ways she couldn't predict. The role would separate her from other humans, and the political pressures would be enormous. But the opportunity was equally real. A voice for humanity in the highest court. A chance to ensure justice for her species and all others. A door opened that had been closed for 50 years. Olivia made her decision. She activated her communication panel and contacted Chief Justice. Zorax, I accept the position, she said. When do we begin? The neural augmentation process took 6 weeks. For Olivia, it felt both like an eternity and an instant. She lay in a specialized chamber while machines connected directly to her brain, expanding her ability to perceive legal dimensions beyond human comprehension. The pain was intense at first, a burning sensation that ran from the base of her skull down her spine. But as the weeks passed, the pain gave way to wonder. Olivia began to see legal concepts as physical structures, complex, multidimensional frameworks that existed in a space beyond normal reality. The process is working better than expected, noted the Merlasian doctor overseeing her treatment. The Merlasians, with their 6-lobed brains, were the foremost experts in neural manipulation. Your mind is adapting quickly. When the treatment ended, Olivia emerged changed. She could still think like a human. That was crucial to her value as a judge, but she could now also perceive the legal dimensions that other species had evolved to see naturally. How do you feel? Asked Kelvin when he visited her recovery room. Different, Olivia admitted. But still me. Earth is buzzing with the news, Kelvin told her. You're being called a pioneer, a hero. They're saying you've advanced humanity's standing by 50 years overnight. Olivia smiled weakly. No pressure, right? News of her appointment had spread throughout the Galactic Union. Not all reactions were positive. Several species had filed formal protests, arguing that humans were too primitive, too emotional, or too inexperienced to serve on the High Court. A few extremist groups had even staged demonstrations outside the courthouse. Security has been enhanced, Chief Justice Zorax informed her during a visit. The concerns will fade as you prove your worth. And if I don't prove my worth? Olivia asked. The Chief Justice's 7 eyes blinked in sequence. Then humanity's status will remain unchanged. But I have analyzed the probabilities. You will succeed. The day of Olivia's formal induction arrived. She stood before a mirror in her preparation chamber, hardly recognizing herself. Gone were her simple human clothes, replaced by the formal robes of a galactic high court judge. The garment shifted colors subtly, responding to her thoughts and emotions. Around her neck hung the judge's sigil on a silver chain. The crystal seemed alive now, pulsing with energy that connected to her augmented neural pathways. It suits you, said Shrila, the gaseous council member, entering the chamber. The robes adapt to each judge's species. They have never been worn by a human before. I can feel them responding to me, Olivia said. It's strange. The strangeness will pass, Shrila assured her. Soon it will feel as natural as your own skin. Olivia took a deep breath. I'm ready. She followed Shrila through a series of corridors until they reached the grand entrance of the court, the same entrance where she had been turned away 6 times before. Now, instead of approaching from the outside, she was emerging from within. The massive crystal doors swung open. Outside, a crowd had gathered, diplomats, officials, journalists, and citizens from dozens of species. Among them stood a small delegation of humans, including representatives from Earth's government and Olivia's family. The Veldaran guards who had once denied her entry now lowered their ceremonial staffs in respect as she approached. Justice Mercer, they acknowledged, using her new title. Olivia nodded to them, remembering their dismissive attitudes from months before. The memory didn't bring anger, just a sense of how much had changed. As she stepped onto the ceremonial platform, Olivia spotted Amy Sutton in the crowd. The engineer grinned and gave a subtle thumbs up. Beside her stood Kelvin, looking proud but nervous. Chief Justice Zorax addressed the assembly. "Today marks a historic expansion of the Galactic High Court," he announced. "For the first time, a representative of humanity joins our ranks." A murmur ran through the crowd, some approving, some clearly skeptical. "Justice Olivia Mercer has demonstrated exceptional legal reasoning and a unique perspective valuable to our proceedings," Zorax continued. "Her appointment reflects the court's commitment to diverse judicial viewpoints." Olivia stepped forward as custom required. "I accept this appointment with humility and determination," she said, her voice carried by the court's acoustic enhancers. "I will serve all species with equal consideration and uphold the fundamental principles of galactic justice." The ceremony concluded with a ritual touching of sigils between Olivia and the Chief Justice. As their crystals made contact, Olivia felt a surge of information, thousands of years of legal knowledge flowing directly into her augmented mind. The weeks that followed were intense. Olivia trained daily, absorbing the court's procedures and studying the most complex cases in its history. Her human colleagues at the legal aid office treated her differently now, with respect but also distance, as if her augmentation had made her something other than human. Only Kelvin and Amy treated her the same as before. "How does it feel being on the other side of those doors?" Kelvin asked during one of their meetings. "Strange," Olivia admitted. "Sometimes I walk past the guards and expect them to stop me. Old habits, I guess." "When do you hear your first case?" Amy asked. "Next week," Olivia replied. "A territorial dispute between the Zolanti and the Petrovians. It's been ongoing for 7 centuries. 7 centuries? Kelvin whistled. "No pressure for your first case." "Actually, there's enormous pressure," Olivia said. "Several judges have tried to resolve it before. None have succeeded." "So why give it to you?" Amy asked. "To test me," Olivia said simply. "To see if human perspective offers anything new." Later, alone in her judicial chambers, Olivia reviewed the case files. The dispute involved a mineral-rich planet on the border between 2 star systems. Both the hive-minded Zolanti and the silicon-based Petrovians claimed ancestral rights to the world. Previous judges had tried to divide the planet or establish shared mining rights, but neither species would accept compromise. Their biological and cultural differences made their needs seem mutually exclusive. Olivia's augmented mind processed the multidimensional legal arguments, while her human intuition searched for connections others had missed. And then, studying a forgotten subsection of union bylaws, she found something. "It's been in plain sight all along," she whispered to herself. She activated her communication panel. "Chief Justice, I believe I've found a solution to the Zolanti-Petrovian dispute." Zorax's 7 eyes blinked with interest. "Before the trial has even begun?" "Explain." As Olivia outlined her approach, the Chief Justice's expression shifted from skepticism to surprise. "No one has attempted this interpretation before," Zorax noted. "That's because it requires thinking outside established precedent," Olivia explained. "It's a very human approach to problem solving. It is risky," Zorax warned. "Both species may reject it." Olivia smiled. "Or they may accept it because it's so unexpected. Sometimes surprise creates openings for agreement." The Chief Justice considered this. "Present your solution at the trial," he finally said. "Let us see if human innovation can succeed where traditional methods have failed." As Zorax's image faded from her screen, Olivia felt both excitement and apprehension. Her first case would either validate humanity's place on the court or confirm the doubts of those who opposed her appointment. Everything would depend on her ability to bring human perspective to a dispute older than Earth's entire involvement with the Galactic Union. The day of the trial arrived. The grand chamber of the Galactic High Court was filled to capacity. Representatives from both the Zolanti and Petrovian delegations sat on opposite sides of the room, their biological differences stark. The Zolanti were insectoid, with multiple body segments and compound eyes that reflected light in rainbow patterns. The Petrovians resembled walking crystal formations, their silicon bodies creating soft chiming sounds as they moved. In the observation galleries sat diplomats, journalists, and citizens from dozens of species. The human section was small but prominent. Earth had sent its highest-ranking officials to witness this historic moment. Olivia entered the chamber wearing her judicial robes. The garment shifted between deep blue and purple as she walked to her position on the elevated judges' platform. Chief Justice Zorax and 5 other judges joined her, representing a diverse cross-section of union species. The court recognizes the case of Zolanti Hive Collective versus Petrovian Crystalline Consensus, Zorax announced. This territorial dispute over the planet designated KX-549 has remained unresolved for 7 standard centuries. The Chief Justice turned to Olivia. As is tradition for newly appointed judges, Justice Mercer will preside. A murmur ran through the chamber. Giving such a complex and politically sensitive case to a new judge, especially a human one, was unexpected. The Zolanti representative stepped forward first. Tall and mantis-like, she moved with precise grace. Honored judges, the planet KX-549 has been a spawning ground for Zolanti larvae for 12 centuries. The rare minerals in its southern hemisphere are essential to our biological development. Without them, our next generation will develop inadequately. The Petrovian representative followed. His crystalline body refracted light as he spoke. The planet's core resonates at frequencies that align with Petrovian consciousness. Our ancestors have used these resonances for meditation and memory storage. Since before the Zolanti evolved spaceflight, the harmonic balance would be destroyed by continued Zolanti mining. For hours, both sides presented their arguments. They showed historical records, scientific data, and precedents from similar cases. The debate was complex, with multiple dimensions that Olivia could now perceive thanks to her neural augmentation. She saw how the legal arguments formed patterns, some solid and well-constructed, others flowing but inconsistent. Both sides had valid claims. Both had biological needs tied to the planet. Traditional solutions like splitting the territory or establishing shared access had failed repeatedly. When all arguments had been presented, Chief Justice Zorax turned to Olivia. Justice Mercer, you may now deliver the court's ruling. Olivia stood. The chamber fell silent. This dispute has remained unresolved for 7 centuries because both claims have merit, she began. Both species have legitimate biological and cultural ties to KX-549. Traditional approaches to territorial disputes have failed because they assume the territory must be claimed by one party or divided between them. She activated a holographic display showing Union legal code. I direct the court's attention to the Galactic Union Charter, Section 726, Paragraph 94. Any world contested for more than 5 centuries becomes eligible for reclassification as a neutral development zone. The 8th chamber erupted in surprised murmurs. This obscure provision had never been applied to a case of this magnitude. Silence, ordered Zorax. The room immediately quieted. Please continue, Justice Mercer, he said. A neutral development zone, Olivia explained, is administered jointly by the contesting parties and the court itself. Neither side claims ownership. Instead, a tri-party council oversees development that serves the needs of both species while preserving the planet's natural balance. She turned to address the Zolanti representative. Your larvae would have access to the minerals they need. Then she faced the Petrovian, and the core resonances would be protected from disruption. The representatives looked at each other, then back at Olivia. This has never been done before, the Zolanti representative said. Not at this scale, Olivia agreed, but there are 17 smaller precedents where similar arrangements have succeeded. The difference is that no one connected those cases to this one before, because no one thought like a human before. The Petrovian representative said, his tone neutral but curious. Precisely, Olivia said. Humans excel at finding patterns across seemingly unrelated domains. It's how our minds evolved. She gestured, and the holographic display showed examples of successful neutral development zones. In each of these cases, both parties initially opposed the solution. In each case, both ultimately benefited more than they would have under traditional territorial division. The Zelanti representatives' antennae quivered, a sign of deep thought. The hive would need guarantees. As would the consensus, added. The Petrovian. The court would provide those guarantees, Olivia assured them, and would assign a permanent judicial liaison to the tri-party council. She looked at both representatives. 7 centuries of conflict have cost both your peoples greatly. This solution offers a path forward that honors both your claims and needs. The chamber was silent as the representatives conferred with their delegations. The tension was palpable. If either side rejected her ruling, it would be a significant blow to humans standing on the court. Finally, both representatives stepped forward again. The Zelanti Hive Collective accepts this ruling, the insectoid representative announced. The Petrovian crystalline consensus also accepts, the silicon being chimed. Relief washed over Olivia, though she maintained her composed judicial demeanor. Chief Justice Zorax struck the ceremonial gong, making the ruling official. Let it be recorded, he announced, that the planet KX-549 is now established as a neutral development zone under the joint administration of the Zelanti, the Petrovians, and the Galactic High Court. As the chamber began to empty, delegates and observers buzzing with news of the unexpected resolution, Olivia remained at her position. She had done it, found a solution where none seemed possible, using human perspective combined with her new, multidimensional understanding. Later, in her private chambers, Chief Justice Zorax joined her. Your ruling today has already changed the trajectory of 17 similar conflicts throughout the galaxy, the Chief Justice noted. The legal patterns you perceived were there all along, but no one connected them as you did. This is precisely why the court needed a human perspective, he continued. Different species perceive different dimensions of reality. Humans see connections that others miss. Olivia gazed out at the glittering cityscape of Centauri Prime. And to think, 6 months ago, I couldn't even enter the building. Sometimes, Zorax replied, those who are denied entry are exactly who should be sitting in judgment. In the weeks that followed, Olivia's ruling became the subject of intense study throughout the Union's legal community. Several other long-standing disputes were re-examined using her approach. Earth's embassy received formal requests for more human legal scholars to study at the court. Preparations began for the training and augmentation of additional human judges. Olivia herself became a symbol of humanity's unique contribution to galactic society. The species once deemed too primitive for advanced jurisprudence had proven its value through its very differences. One evening, Olivia walked through the grand entrance of the court, heading home after a long day. The Veldaran guards saluted, respectfully. Good evening, Justice Mercer, they said. Good evening, she replied with a smile. As she descended the steps she had once been forbidden to climb, Olivia felt a deep sense of satisfaction. The barriers between humans and the greater galactic community were beginning to fall. She had entered the court not as a supplicant begging for recognition, but as a judge whose unique human perspective brought balance to a system that had forgotten how valuable different viewpoints could be. And that, Olivia thought, was the greatest justice of all.